Hello everybody and welcome. I'm Leanna and I'm a book artist from the beautiful Pacific Northwest. Today I want to share with you how to make the famous Jane Austen letter folds. It's a letter and it's an envelope all in one. So here we go. We've got the little wax seal that seals it up so the letter can be private and all this area would be written on. So there's three different ways that I want to show you how to do it, but it's all the same basic fold. Let me tuck that back in. This is with a normal 8.5 by 11 coffee dyed piece of paper, and I have wax seals on all of them. In the next video I'll show you how to do the wax seals. You don't have to have a wax seal on it. You can have it just like this, and it's just quite fabulous in itself. This one I didn't even put a seal on it. Instead I've just used a little paper lace that I tucked down in the inside of it. I think that looks fabulous. This is the exact same folding method, but what I did, I folded in the opposite direction so you have an envelope that goes the long way. This is more of a contemporary wild looking pattern. It doesn't have to be vintage looking necessarily. Opens up, you have a nice little tucked envelope. Here's another one that I did. Now I did something different with this one. Looks just like the other ones. This is actually a store-bought seal, but when you open it up, what I decided to do was just to decorate and embellish the entire thing. So when you look here, this is all undone. I have it undone at the moment, but this all unwraps right here with this string, and then this opens up, and then this opens up, and then this has a little tuck right there. I have a little tuck on the inside there. Yikes! At the top here, this is just an embellishment I did with washi tape. I'll show you, I'll put a link up above so you can see how to do that. But when you open up an inside, there's an added just different piece that you can use to write on or to do whatever you want to do. What I did with this one, I made it so this little girl, she peeks right through the window, so you can see her right through that little teeny tiny crack. So I'll show you how to do this fold as well. The last one, it's the same fold, but it just it's a little bulkier, so I'll do that one last. This is actually a copy, or a pseudo copy I should say, of one of the Jane Austen, actual one of her letters. So there's the address right there, or to the person that it goes to. It's got a seal. It opens up. What's different about this one is it has the writing on this page, then the writing on the inside of it, and a lot of times they would actually also do the writing on the outside right here. So this one's a little bulkier in the fold because instead of folding from an 8.5 inch type, this one's folded from an 8.5 starting point, and this one's folded from a half sheet. So anyway, they're all fabulous, and let me show you how to do them. Okay, the first one I'm going to show you is the one that uses the normal 8.5 by 11 piece of paper like this. And I'm actually going to use this sheet because you can kind of see the creases in it already, so it helps a little bit. So if you hold and place the 8.5 by 11 piece of paper, or whatever size of paper that you have, this is just a common piece of paper that we all have, so I'm using that as an example. Place it in front of you the long way. The first thing that you're then going to want to do is fold your flaps in. Now, a lot of people fold it so that it's in the exact middle. If you want to do that, I would recommend just kind of lightly folding your paper in half, just putting a little pinch mark so you can see where the middle is, and then opening it up and then bringing your pieces in. I like to bring my pieces in so that I have a little tiny window open right there. I don't know, it just makes me feel more comfortable. That's just me. Maybe you'll want to overlap them so there's not any kind of open area like that. Now I should say too at this point, that was folded in the middle. It's not necessary to fold in the middle. I've been looking around at a lot of different pages, and some of the Jane Austen ones are actually folded more like 2/3 of the way on one flap, and then 1/3 of the way on the other flap. So it's not in the center at all. So don't get uptight about trying to get it in the exact middle. If I were you, I'm not, but I make these all the time, I would just go ahead and fold it. Just be at peace and fold it in, and wherever it lands, it's just fine. And the reason is because when you actually take your folded piece, this is a different one, but you don't see it. You can't tell where it actually has been folded until you actually open up the piece. Okay, now that we have our pieces folded, so that we have now three separate 3 separate pieces, 1, 2, 3. Now what we're going to do is fold a small part and a larger part. So for this part, I fold it down maybe about 1.5 inches, and then the next part I'm going to pull in, and this is going to be tucked in. And so if you can see that there, it's about half the distance in between there. It's enough of a fold so that I can put this inside and it will hold. Once again, there's no exact amount on this. It doesn't have to be like exactly 1/2 inch. You can play around with it and just kind of do whatever you want. But go ahead and fold that top up, change the position, and then fold this one about halfway, kind of eyeball where halfway is, but it doesn't have to be that. I know I keep stressing that. And do a nice fold. Once you get that, you're going to open it up and tuck one end into the other. Now you can tuck either end into the other. I don't know that there's necessarily a better end to tuck than the other one, but there is that, tucking the larger end into the smaller end, and then you can put your seal right there. You've got a nice letter, just a few easy folds, and boom, there you go. Pretty exciting. Now for the next one, we're going to be doing the same thing, but we're going to be folding it in the opposite direction. So if you can see the lines right there, that kind of gives you an idea of how you're going to be folding. So for this one, I've got it so that the shorter edge is parallel to me, and I'm going to fold it in about halfways and about halfways on both sides. So I've got a long piece. Now the longer I want it, the shorter I want my top flap. So I have this one, it might even be a 2-inch flap. If I want my envelope to be a little bit longer, I should do it more like 1.5 inch, right? And then once I have that top folded, I'm going to bring this in. I have that about halfway, but I could just go like a 1/2 inch right there folded in. Whatever the amount is necessary to just kind of tuck it in and hold it sufficiently. So once I pull that up, fold that crease, I can go ahead and I can tuck that into the inside as well. Now that was folding the large part into the small edge fold, but you can do it the other way, and let me show you what that looks like. To take the smaller edge and fold it, and then I've got that little place right there that I can go ahead and place a seal or the lace or whatever I want to do. So those are those two. So the last one I want to do is to go over with how to make the half fold one, which is this one that was an original Jane Austen letter that I downloaded from the internet. Now the reason that they folded like this, they wanted to get as much use of the paper as possible. They didn't have envelopes, and the recipient of the mail was the one that had to pay for it. So they would write small, and they would try to use every little bit of their paper. And sometimes they would like write normally in one position, then they would turn their paper and they would write on top of their other writing. I believe it's called cross writing. And so then you would have to decipher and see what it looks like. I'll put a picture up here so you can see kind of what that looks like. It's really quite fascinating. Okay, so we have our 8.5 by 11 piece of paper. You can kind of see some of the foldings in this. So I'm going to go ahead and fold it in half. So now I've got a nice half sheet. This is the sheet that I'm going to use, just like the very first one that I did. I'm going to have the long side right next to me, and for this I'm going to put it right about halfway, but it doesn't have to be. It can be anywhere that it's just so the two edges kind of meet. So I've got those two sides folded in. Now I'm going to fold this one in thirds, and you can see where those are going right there. So I'm going to fold one flap, and I have this one I think about 1 inch. Let's take a peek. Yep, that one's 1 inch. And then this bottom one, I'm going to pull it up, and I'm going to make it to about that 1/2 inch point, and I'm going to fold it. So now I've got the nice little piece, and what I'm going to do, because this one has a clean edge as opposed to this one has the rough edges, I'm going to tuck that in the inside because it preserves the paper a little bit more, and then I've got a nice folded letter right there. So it's just like this one. And then you can put a seal on it. And there you go. Isn't that just fun and fabulous? So these are the things, these are the letters that you can make. It can just really be quite fun, especially when you do something like this. It's like, what a wonderful surprise. You know, all these little tucks and things in the inside that they get to discover, and they have no idea because on the outside it just looks normal. So you can use coffee dyed paper, you can use wonderful paper, you know, designer type paper, whatever you do, just have fun with it. So this is the next thing I'm going to show you in the next video. I'm going to show you how to make the wax seals to put on your letters. What I've done, I've figured out a way that I can do it so that I'm not going to damage the letter, the piece that I want to be able to open over and over and over again, and I want something that's going to stick. So I'll be filming that next, so keep an eye out. Give me a thumbs up if you like seeing how to make this letter, and then hit that bell if you want to make sure you get a notification of when the other things come up. So I hope you have a great day, and I will see you soon. Bye.